Coming up on the dirty side of the track this week, Rob throws someone under a bus. I know, that's why I wanted to throw you squarely under the bus. Paul reveals the most important thing for an F1 team to buy.
You've got to go and buy knives and forks for people to eat out of. You know what I mean? It's all...
Brian's in the shower.
And this was just one I was thinking about in the shower. Is that...
Good Lord, Josh.
Nice.
Hey now, welcome to the Dirty Side of the Track, America's leading Formula One podcast. I'm Brian, that's Rob. We have a special guest, and it's 2026. Paul, how are you, brother?
Oh, where's my theme tune?
We need it this quickly? All right, here we go.
He's Mr. Bedside.
Hey now. Now, look, the amount of effort that it was Andy, wasn't it, who wrote that? The amount of effort that Andy went through to actually record that, for it not to be used is a crime. So, yeah, I actually really love it. It's honestly, it's the only reason I do the reviews. It's nothing to do with you two guys. So,
Sounds about right. Rob, how are you? Happy 2026.
Yeah, happy new year, happy new season of the Dirty Side, season 5. Can you believe it? Season 5.
I cannot.
Jeez, I can't either somehow. I don't even understand how he carries on doing stuff for us, to be honest. I mean, two idiots that really shouldn't be getting that kind of insightful views of tracks from around the world, Paul. I mean, it's more than ever. What I said, what I'm really looking forward to this year is if you can top milkings, fistings, whatever else we've had as part of triple headers.
Crumbs.
I mean, that...
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the end of the year, I think is, I always say, like, you tend to go insane towards the end of a racing season. You just get tired and, like, but, like, this year was quite relaxed. So I've got no excuse for anything toward, I listen to the podcast, obviously, when you do them, and I sit there and listen to sometimes my own review, and I'm just sort of like, what am I doing with life? Like, how can I get a cow mistaken for a camel? So I was so convinced it was a cow. Until, oh dear. So yeah, on behalf of me and only me, I apologize to every listener for just not getting the basic grasp of conversation, reviews, all time, and all correct, because it's just
The
confusing.
time part. You are a legend, but you've become a legend. When Rob and I have problems describing time, we basically pull a Paul, is the way we look at it.
Well, that's the line. And also just like the problem is I crumbs. We've had fisting and pulling straight off the cuff. So we do review. Right, when I do reviews, because I think I overthink them. So like I think it was Qatar, which would have been Qatar because it was the sprint race, and I'm trying to I recorded it on the Saturday for the Friday review, and then in my head I've got to try and justify the fact that I'm going to say that the sprint race is today, but I'm doing a review on the previous day. And I think I get so het up in my own brain of trying to make it make logical sense to anyone, I turn it into the most illogical thing possible by me just rambling on about not knowing what day it is. And then of course it doesn't matter to any listener, because by the time you've listened to this, it's all irrelevant what day it's just, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Although I will say, my highlight was, and you've already name-checked it, was the camel cow thing. Because it wasn't that we were so confused listening to the first one. I was totally bewildered that cow was like the national animal. And I was like, oh, you learn something every day on this gig. And then it was just your voice when you opened up the second review and you went, camel. It's not a cow. It's a camel. It's like, and you were just obviously just so annoyed at yourself for dropping the ball, as they say.
I was so because I believe it or not, and this might blow listeners' minds as well as you two. Probably not. Not a lot of overall thought goes into what I like to describe each triple header. So I'll wake up in the morning and I'll try and think of something so risque towards the fact that obviously we don't want to use bad language because we're a family podcast and we love it that way. But if you don't inject a little bit of jeopardy into conversation, then there's something wrong. So I try and also get, hopefully some of our younger listeners won't realize exactly what it's double entendres, isn't it? Whatever they call it.
Yes.
But like, I was so preoccupied. Oh God, this is going to sound. I was so preoccupied with milking that I just got because obviously the most famous thing you milk is a cow or an almond if you're a vegetarian vegan thing.
Exactly.
But like, so I was so preoccupied with milking that I just instinctively just went along the line of cows. And it weren't until, like you said, this reality struck me that I've been talking to you lot for about 3 minutes. Absolute nonsense. And then including the fact that we're milking cows in the Middle East. And it's just like, oh man, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. But you are here to join us today on the first episode of 2026. So we're going to do a little bit of news and social. It's been a bit quiet. We've been just overindulging, I think, for my part anyway, over Christmas and New Year. So we'll pick the bones of what we found. A couple of videos that are more 2025 wrap-ups. And then one of the reasons Paul is here, not just to catch up, is to kind of just get a view as what life is going to be like in the wonderful world of Cadillac. Maybe a little bit of compare and contrast from him and Valtteri's perspective of what it was like being reserved, now going back into main driver, and we'll see where that conversation goes, and hopefully doesn't involve cows milking or any of that kind of stuff. So, do you want to jump in, Brian, with what you found first?
Yeah, let's do it. So, obviously, we'll get into the new regs at some level, some amount of depth, which we will be out of ours, I'm sure. But in order to test those new regs, there's 3 sets of testing this year. There'll be the Barcelona testing, 26th to 30th of January, which is apparently private. And then Bahrain 1 and 2, 11 to 13 in February and 18 to 20 in February, giving constructors time to shake down the new cars with all the new regs. So, Paul, are you and Valtteri at all of these? And, what's like the plan? I mean, 26th of January is not far away.
No, it's not. And so every team will tend to do a shakedown first before they go off to Barcelona. So you're actually going to get cars running over the next few weeks. The 26 cars running in literally probably not next week, but the week after. A lot of teams will start doing what they call shakedown, which will be no, normally at Silverstone, if you're a UK-based team, which bear in mind is covered in snow right now, you sort of get the idea that you're not going to get a huge bundle of data from that. But really, it's just to run the car around, make sure nothing's drastically wrong. Really limited on what you can do mileage. And then, yeah, we all go off to Barcelona, which you correct is completely private test. So there'll be no car liveries on display. And that is a 5-day test, but you can only run in 3 days of them. So obviously, it's the test is 5 days long. You choose which 3 of those 5 days. I'm nearly going into this old time thing again. And which day of it? Which
3
day
days.
which 3 days of the
of the
5
5.
days? Yeah, you want
It's
to
in
run. So like
January.
exactly. So like if like you are a manufacturer team and you have a manufacturer engine because the engine regs are quite different, you could almost be a little bit needly and send your customer team out with your engine on day one, and then they can fault check the engine, and then you get a lovely day of running on day two. So there's lots you could do with that. It's quite an interesting concept. We like it because like I think the main reason is just to clarify. This is just my opinion, but I believe it's the main reason because we had the porpoising, and that was such a problem to fix. Because once you get to Bahrain testing, it's so limited from that point what you can do between then and Australia. A lot of the freight will go from Bahrain straight to Australia, so won't even come home. So it just gives the teams an extra probably couple of weeks just to make sure we don't have a repeat of that.
So on that then, because I think one of the worries is that the ground effect era brought in porpoising that nobody really envisaged, and like you say, not enough testing lead time to be able to shake that out and sort of correct it before the season starts. Got a funny feeling it might not be called porpoising, but I think the active aero is going to bring its own new set of challenges along. I'm just waiting to hear people where active aero didn't enable in the corners, or it got stuck on and didn't deactivate on the straights. And I'm not sure we'll get a great sound effect like the porpoising one that we had, because that was fantastic. Brian used to like to play it all the time, but I think something else will come out. So the idea then is that they find that in Barcelona, have enough time to fix it before Bahrain. Is that why they put the extra one in?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the Porpoise was a unique one. It was pretty special first time we saw it. Um, just on that, and I'll just very quickly touch on it as well. We obviously first discovered that, like every team did, on the like shakedown, the like I'm talking about doing at Silverstone. We did ours at Maranello with Alfa Romeo at the time, and obviously we saw the car doing what every car was doing, but because you don't have any data for other cars, we assumed it was a us problem. And then obviously it turns out it's a everyone problem. And then so all these teams are like, oh, we got this big problem. We don't know how to fix it. They probably didn't want to talk to another team or see what they're doing because it's pretty embarrassing. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of just making sure we don't have that situation crop up again because it wasn't good. I mean, it was entertaining for us, but for a driver perspective and a safety perspective, it wasn't good at all.
Well, Rob, you talk about the active aero, right? So that has both front and rear wing adjustable aero based on straights and corners, which can be used every lap, is my understanding. The real difference, and again, I'm going to simplify, is there's more battery power. It's 50-50 battery versus, the traditional ICE engine. But the thing that's gone is DRS, and it's replaced with the overtake mode. And so you still have the ability to recharge your battery like you did before. You still have the ability to use boost, which is just using more of your battery like you did before to attack. You can use that whenever you like. Overtake mode is when you're within 1 second of a car, you get a little extra boost on top of what you were trying to do. And so that takes the place of DRS, again, a second away. The difference is on overtake mode, I believe it happens at one detection point, and then you get it for the entire next lap. Whereas DRS had multiple detection points close to the DRS zones. So again, the cars are a little bit smaller. They've improved the safety cell. I talked a little bit about the engine. We got rid of the heat sink saver thing. I mean, all these regs, it sounds like it's supposed to bring better racing. They're higher off the ground, less wash of the air, more ability to attack with the overtake mode. Are you hoping for the same? Like, what's in your mind? What's the thing that you think could go the most wrong?
Well, before we let the expert chime in, then my yeah, that's you, Paul. I am a little bit disappointed on the overtake mode. They've simplified the language, so it's just called overtake mode. It was going to be called manual overtake mode, which meant the acronym was MOM, and we could have got rid of 100 seconds of DRS and replaced it with 100 seconds of MOM. But we're going to have to come up with something else now that DRS is gone. My second one, so the fuel, gone off fossil fuels and replaced by advanced sustainable fuel, right, to reduce emissions. This is where I would have liked them to have then not doubled down on increasing the battery. Because to me, Formula E can be the one that can drive all the electric technology for road cars. Formula One has always existed to try to push technology that's going to be road relevant eventually. I think it's why they dropped the heatsink thing, because that's never going to make its way onto a production car. So why not have Formula One just really go down all in onto combustion but sustainable fuels? And then you've got two bases covered, right? You've got Formula E take care of the electric stuff and Formula One take care of sustainable fuels. I'm just not a fan of 50-50 power split. I want a Formula One car to have an engine that burns sustainable fuel. But yeah, I'm hoping for good racing. My worry is that we saw 2022 when the new regs came out. That first season, do you remember how well they
Yes.
could all follow each other? We didn't get these kind of big lags where people couldn't get through that turbulent air. They were like right each other's trumpets. We had fantastic racing. Then they all worked out the little nuances, and it got a little bit worse every season after that in terms of being able to overtake. This one, I don't know. Maybe it will. I I don't know. What have you? I mean, can you share anything you've heard so far, Paul? Have you heard anything about what people are thinking about whether this is going to increase overtaking opportunities or not, or is it all bunch of band-aids trying to make the thing better?
Um, oh, guys, like it's actually insightful for me. We were joking before we came on. I've got no idea about the new regs, so uh,
I know
um,
that's why I wanted to throw you squarely under
yeah,
the bus.
absolutely stitch me here. Um, I think that look, the whole idea is to improve racing. I think with any regulation change, that's the whole idea. And it's interesting that you say like when these regs came out, the racing was good. So Formula One will set a set of regulations. Teams will go out there and maximize those regulations. So I think it's obvious that year after year it's going to get better. Will teams figure things out? So I think this year is going to be a lot of my gut feeling is this year is going to be a lot of fun. The whole purpose is to increase the racing. I don't know with the battery modes. I tend to agree, Rob, to a degree. I think the problem you're going to have is you always want manufacturers in and around Formula One, and we're not in a place with road cars yet. I don't think where we can run sustainable fuels as yet. So to bring in just a sustainable fuel engine is almost derogatory to the what people have put into electric cars. That's just my opinion. So I would say
It's fair
like
enough.
there might have to be a little bit of a mix of that until that technology becomes available. In terms of the racing, yeah, I mean, if someone's got a battery, if someone's got battery overtaking modes, my counter argument to that would almost be, well, how much less does a driver have to do to overtake? I don't want to see a driver just getting up behind someone, pressing like a James Bond style booster button, and then zooming past someone. Because to me, you know that's not racing. But to counter that, I don't want to see just like okay, I can say DRS trains, mom trains. I'm gonna be careful what I say. Yeah,
Paul.
no, but you know what I mean? Like, exactly. You got to think like it's going to be new words. It's not going to be DRS, so whatever it's going to be. But I don't want to see this whole new thing though, where we just got cars following each other like
Yeah.
that. So I
Yeah.
sort of like, on the one hand, I quite like the battery boost idea. On the other hand, I sort of like want a bit more skill of a driver. So it's really awkward, for
Yeah, I
me.
think I read that the boost is it the boost would be is also available to the car that's trying to defend.
Yes.
So I think they're trying to get rid of some of the breeze by DRS passes that used to annoy us so much because the guy in front was a sitting duck. Now I think it's like it'll almost come down to like battery wars where people will be kind of you'll be trying to line up an overtake on someone and you'll maybe try to trick them into using their battery up as much as possible so that you can then nail it when you've got more than they I don't know,
Well,
making it up now.
I think the recharge and the boost parts are fairly similar to what we had before. Just managing the harvesting on your battery, and when you deploy it, and using it to hold people behind. I think it's the overtake mode that replaces DRS. And I again, the thing that stuck out to me is the fact that there's one detection zone, and then you get it for the whole next lap. That's different. And if you now have
Yeah.
this overtake ability, and you have it for an entire lap, Rob, I'm with you. I think you can set people up if you're using your skill. You may not use it right away. You may wait and let them drain their boost. I
Can I
agree.
ask, and again, apologies for not knowing any of the
Well,
regulations. It's very embarrassing.
we've said everything we know. So whatever your
Yeah.
question is going to be answered with a we don't know. But go for it.
Well, no, I think you were. So, like, you saying like there's one detection zone for the battery. Is that still of the same, like, same thing as DRS, where you have like you've got to be within a second of a
Yes.
car, or is it like
Yeah, but from what we've read, hey, so we'll try a I don't know. We'll try the Rob makes it up instead answer. It looks like if you're within a second of the car in front, for that then lap, I believe, you'll get overtake mode. But rather than having to use it down one specified straight where it's do or die, and it last year really most of the time went either down two choices. One, it was too easy and DRS, you just blew past them. The other one, the DRS wasn't strong enough and you could never get past them. So I think what they're trying to do this year is I can use this overtake mode all the way around the lap. So I don't have to use it on the straight into corner one. I can decide, hey, I'm going to boost my way around the outside of turn four at, I was going to say Zandvoort, but we haven't got Zandvoort anymore. But
One more year.
okay? Then
One
can
more year.
oh,
I?
one more
So
year, one more year. So
yeah,
in theory, you use
just
it
to
anywhere.
And
yeah, just to throw another curveball into that, then, and just so like I said, just a genuine question. If let's say I'm just gonna say Baku actually. I'm gonna go for Monza because it's probably a little bit more relevant. So at the moment, I don't know why like you guys should know the answers to this by the way. But in the moment when so you're going to get boost for an entire lap, you'll say you get, let's say, overtake for an entire lap. Does that start then from the start finish line? And therefore, does it end at the start finish line? So the reason I say Monza is actually the start finish line is pretty early into the straight. So if yeah, okay, there's a lot of overtaking opportunities, but let's just play the game of you're going to overtake on the main straight at the end of the lap. Well, then does your boost run out, or do you then get a second boost? Because in theory, you'll still be a second behind him. I
So,
don't know, Rob. I don't know.
Brian?
so my understanding is there are three different things, right? Again, recharge mode, which we've had before. It's when you want to fill up your battery. Boost is just deploying your battery naturally, that everyone can do whenever they want to do it. And then overtake mode is what you just described, Paul. And I don't know where the detection will be at each circuit, and I don't know how it works. If you detect it before the start finish, and then you get it the whole way around. But you can use it for the entire lap. So, like at
As
Monza,
long as it lasts.
as long as it lasts, and you can use it at
Yeah.
Monza. And when your battery goes flat, you're done, right? I mean, you've run out of overtake mode. But you could use it, and you could
Okay.
use it at the back. You could after the Ascari chicane, you could use it there, coming out of that,
Just
and try to grab someone. But they may have drained their battery using their boost, which they're allowed to use, fighting you off through the Lesmos and everything before it.
yeah.
So
So when I say like I was probably being a bit pedantic with the it lasts a lap. So it will last the following lap until your battery runs out is good as.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So you
there's no
get to
stop.
choose where to deploy it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that
Okay.
I think that brings in a little bit more strategy than DRS. But let's let's move on because I think we're getting to the point where me and Brian are completely
Well,
making up every single
totally.
answer now.
The only thing that that we do know is that, and Paul, you said this, teams will always find a way to stretch the regulations. Rob, I think you said it when we were watching this. The first read through is what can you build, and the second read through is what can you do to take advantage. So the interesting part is there have been two things that have come out in social media, so take it with a grain of salt. One is that the FIA has apparently closed a loophole which had a fuel flow meter workaround, which, if anyone
Yeah.
remembers, Ferrari 2019, and no one wanted to admit it, but that's exactly what they did. They had a fuel flow situation, and apparently now the FIA has said, no, 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 we can't allow that to happen again, and they've put this new reg in for 2026 around fuel flow. However, the one that also has gotten a lot of attention is, and this one I don't even fully understand, is the combustion ratio at a 16-to-1 guideline. And when the Mercedes and Red Bull engines get warm, according to the rumors, and we should be in the chopper for this, but we're not, according to the rumors, the compression ratio when warm, when heated, goes to 18-to-1. And the FIA said, due to the warming
yeah.
of the engine, there's nothing we can do, that's allowed. And so with a higher compression ratio, you get 10 to 15 more horsepower. The internet is assuming, and the internet is always wrong, so let's assume it's not that powerful. But anyway, that's all I know
Yeah, I mean
about those.
that one. I mean, I read that one, and I think the quote is it's paraphrasing from Newey: is you read the regulations first to see what's in them, and then you read the regulations again to see what's not. And this one comes under the
That's what it
barrier
is.
of the banner of what's not, which is that the FIA's test is that at ambient temperature, the engine mustn't have a higher compression ratio of 16-to-1. That's all it says. So if your car then produces more power at higher temperature, you're in the regs because they're only going to measure at ambient. So I guess trying to get every team to heat their engine up to a certain, something they could compare across all teams would be impossible, right? So I think they're almost just saying at the end of the day, it's probably negligible. 15 horsepower or whatever it might be. Yeah,
Well,
if
who
you've got an
knows?
engine that when it warms up, it generates a bit more power. Oh well, that'll just be something that everybody can learn how to do. I don't know what they would do to try to clamp that one down.
I wouldn't like to see it clamped down. I am always, I think I've said this in the past, I love personally to see how teams can, let's say, manipulate the rules. You know what I mean by
Innovate.
that? So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that I guess a much better word. Yeah, I'd rather, that's the whole point of F1 is teams to outwit each other, and
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
not like, it's not cheating. It's a bit like the double diffuser with Brawn. It wasn't cheating. It was in the regulations if you wanted to read, well, funny enough, what you were just saying about Newey, if it's yeah, if there's a loophole in there, if there's a way you can gain an advantage by well doing what they're doing, I think that's nothing but that's exactly what F1 is.
Yeah.
Why change? Yeah, why would you not? It's up to the other teams to
otherwise,
be smarter.
Yeah, otherwise you're just asking for like IndyCar. You want a series. You want everybody to have the same car. And if everyone then rallies against that and says, "Oh no, Formula One's much better than IndyCar because they don't all have the same cars," then you can't get angry about innovation because that's what makes the cars different.
Well, it's happened for years. I think remember the Mercedes with the steering a few years ago, and
That's right.
I've got
DAS, right?
that. That shouldn't be banned. It's clever. It's clever as hell. Why would you, why? That's part of what F1 is. That's part of the charm to get that advantage. Every team on that grid will probably have or do something across the course of a season that is against the rules. That's just the nature of what it is. That's the nature of the sport. It's not
Yeah,
cheating. It's just taking advantage of slot. Well, you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I mean, if the FIA tried to write the rules to cover off every single loophole, we wouldn't get new regs for like another decade because they'd have a 15,000 lawyers crawling all over it. So I'm with you. It's like when we had Matt Bishop on, and he famously exposed the second brake pedal in the McLaren, I think it was. There's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't. The rules didn't say you can have a second brake pedal, but they didn't say that you couldn't either. So anyhow, let's keep the pace going here, Brian. What else we got? We got some crack news. We've got Barcelona renews, and it will alternate with Spa until 2032. So we'll get Barcelona Spa, Barcelona Spa. Boo! We
Yeah,
want
none of
Spa
us
every
like
year.
Spa being on rotation. That still hurts my feelings.
Why are we getting rid of proper tracks?
I don't
I,
know.
I could have a proper meltdown on this, but now is not the time.
No, and I obviously voiced my opinion when they announced Spa would be going into a rotation. I thought that was ridiculous. However, there is some positive news. I am, and maybe I'm alone on this. I'd love your guys' thoughts. Portimao is coming back, and it'll take over the Dutch Grand Prix spot 27, 28. I like what it looks like on TV. I've never been to the Algarve. I've never been to Portugal. It's on my list. I would love to go to Portimao. I think it looks so cool on TV. So I'm excited Portugal's back. Paul, what are your thoughts there? And Rob, I'd love yours too, but Paul's making faces. I can't tell why.
It's an okay track. It's good. Um, I I just sort of like we just discussing getting rid of well, not getting rid, but changing Spa and Barcelona. I know we've got Madrid. I'm all for a race in Portugal. I don't mind that. It's a lovely circuit and the Algarve is stunning. But like when you've still got places that are untapped, we say about South Africa, there's still talk of going back to some of the Asian places. I don't want to lose the European season, but it's sort of like there's an old saying in the UK, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's sort of like for me, I like the idea of Portimao coming in, but at the expense of Barcelona or Spa, and I know it's not at the expense, but we can't keep adding races. They're talking about a race again in South Korea. There was rumors about going back to India. Let's hope that doesn't happen after what happened there last time. You know, Thailand still raises heads. He's still getting all these races that everyone's saying are really interesting. But now we're adding a Portugal race, but taking away, one of the grand ones in Barcelona in Spa. So I don't know. I'm slightly on the fence. I'm happy to be going there, by the way. It's a fantastic place. Absolutely nothing wrong with going back to Portimao, but I just want to know at what point do we cap the amount of races in the season because we cannot keep going the way it is.
Yeah, agree. We just debated this before, I think, Brian, about like, could you even see a future where you get another tier that Formula One becomes the or stays where it is, and another between Formula Two and Formula One where it's Formula One spec but for reserve drivers only, and it's for tracks that are on the rotation or want to get into Formula One. Like the only way to get all those tracks is to not have it all be on the Formula One calendar because you can't have 52 races a year. It would be insane.
Or we
So
just ditch Fridays.
I think I'm putting Portimao on my bucket list for 27 or 28. I'm gonna try to get my
It's
butt over there.
it's a sensational place. It's beautiful. In like I'm not going to be tourism Tony, but the Algarve is just it's one of those like really beautiful places on the world. So I have no problem going there. No disrespect to Granollers in Catalonia or Barcelona as it was, but it is an industrial estate. So if you look at the two, then yeah, of course, Portimao. But we also want to go to South Africa. We want to go
Yeah.
places like New Zealand. We want to start go. We want to go back to Buenos Aires. We want to sort of go back to these countries and get an F1 out there. But yeah, Hey, there we go.
Rob,
Right.
you close out the news?
Yeah, I mean, wasn't really the big thing. It was just that it seems to have had a lot of backlash on social media. So forget the new teams that are coming in, like Cadillac and Audi, waiting, and because those are obviously new logos. But four teams have got existing teams have published their new branding for this year. So Haas we knew was going to have to because they've changed. And MoneyGram is gone. It's TGR is in there, so we got the Haas TGR team logo in there, which looks the same. It just says TGR instead of MoneyGram now. Um, Williams, we knew they were going back to the old sort of 1980s, 90s forward slanted W. Um, Oracle, Red Bull Racing, have gone back to what I think is the Seb era logo, where they've put the white um, uh, etching around the Red Bull word. So if you look at this year, it was just red. Now it's red, but with a white outline to it. And I think it was last run under Seb's era.
Still
Not
looks the
massively
same to me.
different, but
Looks the
well, if
same
you
to
put the
me.
two side by if you put the two side by side, you'll see it's actually the Red Bull pops a lot more now. And then the one that's causing outrage online is Mercedes, because Mercedes have dropped the 3D effect from the Mercedes logo. It's now just a flat white star in a circle, a three-pointed star in the circle. And it doesn't have any of the shading on there to give the illusion of, yeah, so Paul's, oh, yeah. And people are just outraged. I don't like all this minimalistic stuff. Why does everybody have to reduce things down to things that print on t-shirts better? It's like, it's not that deep, I don't think. It's just a slight rebrand. I,
It
I
looks the
don't
same
care.
to
Either
me.
of you.
I'm
I'm
fuming,
apparently 3D
absolutely.
blind.
Yeah, I'm fuming about it. It's just I don't think I can go on. I don't think I can go on. I'm actually I'm done. See you later, guys. They're taking the 3D shading off a logo. But no, the trouble is people will find anything to moan at. And yeah, that's just with what's going on around the world. If that's their biggest problem, then fair play to them. But we can just move quickly on. Rob?
Let's do
Let's
it.
open up the video vault then, Brian.
Let's do it. We have a short selection of videos. Rob actually has found his way into the vault this week. So I may close the door and leave him in there after the outrage at the Mercedes logo.
I didn't
Rob,
change
after
it.
you. After you.
Yeah, well, when you sort of hadn't found anything, you said maybe we wouldn't have this one this week. I'm like, we can't start 2026 with no video vault. So I went back to two that I'd been watching over the Christmas period, which of course we didn't record anything. So yeah, they're more than a week old, but it counts because we weren't around. So the first one is the Lollipop Man wrap up of 2025. It's it's okay. Like it's funny. It's more about what's going on in the background in it than anything else. And it's just a
Right.
thank you video. It's just a wrap up video. It's cool. But what I do love is George's PowerPoint presentation at the end, which is about the last 45 seconds of like, you know how like Spotify do Spotify Wrapped and put all these stats up? It's things on that kind of ilk of the most used tune or the number of times the safety car said, hey, in any of his videos. So it's stick around for George's PowerPoint. That's cool. It's only 5 minutes long. The one I look out for every year, and it dropped just around Christmas, was the from the F1 channel, the 2025 F1 season animated. I'm not going to give away any of the visual things. There's a couple of Brian's favorites in there.
There are.
Team Radio Message that are animated. It's just if you've never watched one of the F1 season animated, just we'll have the link in the show notes. Just go watch it. It's 3 minutes. It's brilliant.
They do use a lot of our team radio that made it into the awards. If you haven't listened to our awards episode, where we talk about some of the best team radio, a lot of that shows up there. That was good. It's always good. And then everything you need to know about the Formula One 2026 regulations, the F1 channel, 8 minutes. It's worth the time. Although, if I'm honest, we did a pretty good job regurgitating everything we saw from that video here on this here podcast. So,
I was gonna say we probably should have watched that before we came on, really, shouldn't we?
well, that's where I found out about the one detection point and then the lap. Hey, Rob, what's that? Look over there. Oh, we locked him in. He's stuck. He is stuck. All right. So, Paul, thank you for joining us. We've already drained the regulation conversation, but as we look at a new team on the grid, for a lot of people, they haven't seen that. For newer fans, and it's been a while since we've seen a new team on the grid. You know, we're kind of curious. Cadillac. What's the process of getting a team set up? What does it mean for Valtteri and you? Like, start wherever you like, because we're going to have a lot of questions as we kind of get a feel for a new team on the grid.
Yeah, I mean, this one I guess has been a little bit more special, and the reason I'm going to say that is we had obviously you had the Andretti stuff going on. So obviously with Andretti, there was always these rumors it was going to happen. It was always going to happen. Um, for a new team to come in from scratch, from zero, is pretty unique. I mean, I can remember. Oh, I don't remember BA. I'm going to go out BAR. I'm trying to think of teams that have come in since I've been here. Here, I mean, like actually alive. BAR basically took over from Tyrrell, so they had a lot of equipment, they had a lot of infrastructure. Stewart Grand Prix, which then obviously went on to become Jaguar Red Bull. Stewart, they came from a team as well, I think, because they launched as a brand new team, but I've got a feeling they came in off the back of someone else. So, and then obviously we had Manor, and then whoever else came in oh God, about 2009, wherever it was, I can't remember. But to have a team totally from scratch, from zero, nada, to literally being on the grid is pretty unique, and the workload that purely goes into getting it set up to the point where you've got to go and buy knives and forks for people to eat out of. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not even just a case of getting cars. The whole thing is mental, the amount of workload that goes into that. So, and then in terms of the drivers, to be honest with you, the driver's not a massive problem with starting up a new team because it's not like when the talk's going on with Andretti, and ideally set a team up, you need maybe 2.5 years to get everything done. So the fact Cadillac had done this in, I'm going to say 12 months, and that's being kind, just a lot less in reality from when they got approved. It's just huge. And then, yeah, of course, they knew Valtteri was in the position he was. They knew Sergio was in the position he was. So driver-wise, it doesn't really impact the team that much. Like I said, if you got 2.5 years of setup time, a lot changes, and then you might have an idea who's going to drive. Go back to BAR, it was Jack Villeneuve's team. He set it up with Craig Pollock, so we knew he was going to be one of the drivers. So I'd be interested to, if you got your computers in front of you, find out if Stewart Grand Prix came from someone because I really can't remember. But I can't remember a team actually coming in from zero to being running. And
Well,
in the time frame, it's ridiculous.
it is amazing. And while Rob researches that, I will say that one of my favorite stats is, and this was just one I was thinking about in the shower, is that
Good Lord, Josh.
Nice.
you got it. And here we go.
How you getting on with that, Rob?
I,
He's still in the vault. That's why I felt I could be honest. So
I'm just glad that while I'm googling that, it's not taking over from the microphone, and suddenly I'm googling Brian in the shower. But
Valtteri and Checo, once Cadillac has their first race, there'll be 11 teams. They've driven for 7 of them. And so just the amount of knowledge that these two skilled drivers bring. Valtteri with 10 wins and Checo with 6. Valtteri with 67 podiums, 10th most all time. I mean, you're looking at two guys with both experience with other teams, experience with multiple regulations, experience with different cars. So there's, when people would talk about this before and say it made sense, you get 2 experienced drivers. No, you really do get 2 vastly experienced, amazing drivers. And so for a startup team, I'm assuming that once the season gets going and there's races, there's feedback, and there's conversation, I'm assuming that experience really comes in stronger then? Or is it now, like during testing? Like when does Valtteri and Checo's experience really add to the Cadillac process?
Well, yeah, I mean, they got announced quite late into. I mean, I think I've said before on the podcast that it doesn't. Car design and car development happens a long time, like prior to like the 1st of January or whenever the car goes on track. So I think I know I hopped on loads enough about Lewis last year for the exact same reason. So it's going to be like, in terms of a driver and the input you'll have, your input will be huge, especially with a new team. But your input into the car and how it behaves will always be. I always would say year 2 personally. Year 1 is that's what you've got, but this is the feedback we're going to give you on that car.
Got it.
Year 2, you're then gonna put a lot of the feedback you're getting into the design of the car for 27. In terms of items they can influence, steering wheels, driving positions, pedals, and then like once then you get through that, obviously then in terms of the way the car's set up, the way it works, that's just the way it is. But yeah, of course, two massively experienced drivers who can sit there straight away and go, I want this, 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 compared to a rookie who could probably go in there and just be like, like a little puppy, go, yeah, yeah, I like it, like it, like it, then turn out it's absolutely awful. So that was always a big one for me, having someone experienced. If you put two inexperienced people, you just
Yeah.
your driver feedback is so super critical.
The Rob, did you find the answer by the way for Paul?
Of course I did. That's what the internet's for.
Is it
For teams'
arrows?
origins. Hmm?
Was it arrows?
No, 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 no.
Oh.
It's you'll never guess it because I think technically it's kind of a brand new team that just had some motorsport ground. So, 1988, Jackie Stewart's son Paul had set up Paul Stewart Racing after he bought the mighty Gary Evans Motorsport team, which I'm sure we all know of. They competed in Formula 3000, Formula 3, and Formula Vauxhall Lotus. And then eventually in '95, Jackie Stewart got a 5-year development deal with Ford to then make it a factory team and take it to Formula One. So, to your point, okay, they didn't have a Formula One team there lying around, but a lot of the infrastructure, the knives and forks, all the logistics that you need to run a motorsport team, even if it is in the other series, other formulas, yeah, they kind of inherited that as well. So I think you're right. I was racking my brains when you were going through it. I think almost every team that we can say is new on the grid have always inherited or rebranded or bought somebody else that went before them. I don't think it's been in our lifetime, although I'm sure especially the people on the Discord will like to correct us that there's some brand new team that we've seen, but
Yeah, and again, I think well, I may have spoke about this, but people will always say, well, Brawn GP. Because like I always say, when people talk about performance, no team's ever done well in their first season of F1. No team's ever. People always go, well, Brawn GP. And well, yes, but Brawn basically had a ridiculously huge budget up until the 31st of December. And then that budget stopped on the 1st of January. So they had everything they needed. They have a great factory, which obviously just down the road from me here. They've got the trucks, they've got the garages, they've got the seats, they've got napkins, Rob, for the knives and forks. They can wrap them. So like they had everything they actually needed to go racing. So yes, okay, technically you could argue it's their first year, but I don't think. I mean, like you said, obviously it has happened because every team started from somewhere, but I don't think anyone's done anything to the scale of Cadillac have done now. You
So
know,
so then that's a great point on in terms of the feedback getting back to the car, right? I always think about upgrades, and for anybody who's a newer F1 fan, the F1 movie is not how upgrades are done. They don't just like design a little thing on the floor of the car and it shows up 2 weeks later and then they win. It takes time and a lot of design approach to get through that. And you're right, I hadn't thought of that. So like the feedback Valtteri and Checo give may help with some upgrades throughout the year, but it's a 27 car that benefits from it. That said, everybody's coming out with their 26 car, and they're going to look for porpoising and other things, not actual porpoising, but the equivalent in these new regs. They'll be working through everything they have as they shake down their cars and the engines. Is there a chance we see someone hit a home run and or someone striking out wildly?
yep, massively, yeah. I mean, if you look at the start of the last regulation change, 2020, 22, 22.
Oh, the 22 ground effect? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you look at our car Alfa Romeo, the first couple of races, we were the fourth quickest team out there. We were faster than Mercedes. You had the cars at the front. Your Red Bull. I think it was Red Bull, Ferrari, and it might have been Aston Martin who were ridiculously fast at the start of the era. It might not have been Aston, but then it was sober. If you think we were finishing fifth, sixth, Bahrain, we had the first race, we were great. We were overtaking George in Imola, nearly. It was so yeah. You can have a team. It's funny you just said about development because this is where I'm going with this. You have a team that actually can do that. What you actually then need is a team who then can develop in an upward curve. If you look at
Right.
all the top teams, McLaren, they, I was it last year. They started off pretty average, and then they developed a car that was, winning races. So they've got they have the intelligence, they have the infrastructure, they have the staff to produce brilliant upgrades. Whereas, like, if you have a team, I'm going to say, I mean, it's amazing. I'm going to say so because a team that's been around so long, I think I'm not going to, you know, dig on them here, but I would have expected their rate of development to be also similar. If you look at a team like Williams, for instance, I know you can argue that Williams are an historical team have won championships, but they don't have a massive workforce. As much as what other teams do. So their rate of development naturally would be a little bit slower. So I get it. That's why I think you still see the big teams that you have Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren, why you sort of see those four teams towards the end of the season all still going at the top because
Right.
Yeah.
they've got the ability to develop the car. They've got, the drive. If you look at the drivers they've got, they're all experienced, so a driver can give the feedback, and then they've got the team around them. So it's not just the driver; you need your engineering group to understand why that upgrade is needed. So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I would go with that.
I think I agree. I mean, oh, no, I think I agree. I do agree because a great case in point, and I have no knowledge of the inner workings of Aston Martin, but we would joke around a couple of seasons running now that they brought downgrades in the middle of seasons. Now, obviously, they've got a phenomenal driver in Fernando that's given the feedback, I imagine, of how to make the car go quicker, but maybe not the right infrastructure behind the scenes or whatever to capitalize that and turn it into something that goes faster. Because we've we've noticed a couple of times where they put the downgrades on Brian, and then Fernando's taken those pieces off and gone faster. It's like so you got to have both sides of the coin. So like you say, hopefully Valtteri and Checo hit the ground running and are giving all that feedback. But it's whether or not Cadillac are ready to be able to do anything about that. What's
But
your
that's
I've put you on the spot here, right? What's your hope for the season? I mean, I'm sure it's to not be an Alpine and score like 0 points for the season or Sauber from the year before. But what's your sort of maybe not hope, because hope you'll say you want to win races. What's the expectation of Cadillac going in? Is it just to score a couple of points, or are they going for it even more aggressively? If you can share that with
I
us.
well, no, there's not a lot to share because you don't. Again, we don't know what the car's going to be like. If I'm honestly realistic, I can't see us qualifying anywhere else for 20th or 21st in Melbourne. That's just not how the sport works. It's hard. What I would like to see towards the end of the year is that I keep saying about that upward curve if you've got a team that is improving. If we do anything, if we don't qualify last in Australia, I think everyone would be over the moon. I think just to finish a race, considering the timescale they've had, and this is again the important thing. They haven't done any testing. They're going to do a shakedown day, Bahrain, Barcelona testing. It's really hard, Formula One. It's really, really hard. Yes, okay, it's a good chassis, Ferrari engine, Ferrari gear, so everything's there at the moment for if you look at the straight line in the middle of the car. It sort of doesn't matter. It's all about the way the team operates. There's so much more goes into it. The electronics are all going to be done by CAD. It's really hard. So I think to qualify anywhere other than 20th and 21st would be amazing in Melbourne. But to answer your question, by the end of the year, I want to see enough progress in that team where maybe we're going to be qualifying 16th, 17th. You never know with Formula One. You never know with the regulations. We could pick up a point. It could be a surprise. But I think to go out there thinking that we can score points is, is wildly ambitious. I'm not saying we're not. I would just say my personal gut feeling, knowing how hard this is, Alpine are a multiple championship winning
Right.
constructor. They have been in Formula One for years with Benetton, but with Michael Schumacher, they have won championship after championship. This year absolutely sucked.
But they got
So
rid of their power unit. They have a whole new power unit, so you got to assume it'll be better.
yeah, well, again, you can only assume, but more to add to the point, if a team like that can't get it right, who's got
Right.
that level of experience, you know what I mean? For a brand new team to come in and then be nailing it straight away would just it's just for me it's as unrealistic as the F1 movie, so it's probably of a similar nature to us.
And I know a lot of listeners are having their own vowels movements, so I don't want to besmirch James when he went to Williams. But do you remember the Williams situation where they had all of their parts managed on an Excel sheet and they had one extra chassis or no extra at the beginning of the season, and then Alex had to take Logan's car? Do you guys use Excel? And please tell us no. And do you know, will you have an extra third chassis ready in case there's a heavy crash in the first race? Question.
We're still trying to build things. I think they got clipboards at A4, probably an etch a sketch to be honest with you. But no, look, I mean, Williams. I think I might have said before with a few teams. I think Williams were a detriment to themselves. Whereas I love the fact they wanted to keep Frank's name in everything around it. But I think with Williams, they try to keep it so in Frank's memory and Frank's legacy. I just think I think the reason Williams dropped off is they didn't move with F1. You know, they wanted to stay the character of Williams, which is great. So it does not shock me. I don't actually know that they had this XL thing, but um, yeah, I think that's just what a team is. You've got to move at the times, and you've got to, you've got to get up and fast with it because this sport changes overnight. And if you are still dealing with Excel and not building enough chassis, then you've got a problem. And just to the point, obviously, I know James Vowles really well. I think anyone who looks at James and think that he shouldn't have got that job can look at the job he's doing now,
Oh
and
yeah,
he's doing a sensational job there. And he's he's a really really nice guy, one of the best people in the sport. I love James to bits, but he has done a sensational job with that team.
totally agree. Rob
Uh,
and I were actually talking about that, and we won't do this now, but we were commenting recently at the quality of the overall team principals across the grid. Almost all of them, you would be pretty happy running your team, and so that's a pretty impressive thing. And James, obviously,
Well, I'm just
shining
going to
star.
quickly touch on a soccer thing here, which is going to appeal more to Rob than you. But if you think James was sort of Toto Wolff's little project and he's gone on to do a great thing at another team, it's a bit like Arsenal, our team, when Mikel Arteta, our manager, worked under Guardiola, one of the better managers, and now Mikel's top of the league and Pep's chasing him. So, yeah, it's Toto needs a lot of credit for the Williams thing too.
no, agree. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, actually, first before I ask about this, is I've got to assume though that a bit like your story you told us on one of the very first episodes you ever came on, when you told us a story of Braun and about how you got the truck halfway down to Spain and had to phone up to see if there's enough money to keep going. Cadillac surely are not in them. That was one thing that isn't going to be troubling them about money. It seems like they've got the full backing, so there's going to be no equivalent of Paul turning up, driving the truck down to Barcelona and asking if they can continue. Right? You're all okay on
No,
that front.
yeah, I've been over there quite a lot to the factories. Obviously, they're just based up the road at Silverstone, so 5 minutes from here. And needless to say, again, it sort of goes back to what we're saying about inheriting teams. With Cadillac, they haven't done that, so every bit of equipment they've got is brand new. So
So
everything,
shiny in there.
oh, it looks incredible. The job that they've done, it's honestly, it is incredible when you just see that equipment. And as an equipment geek, after my years of being a garage technician, I just look around and it's just like it's literally like having a brand new house, and you've got that everything's wiped clean, everything's
Oh
beautiful,
wow.
everything's immaculate. It looks sensational. The way everything looks is unreal. The garage looks great. It's so exciting, honestly, guys. But no, they don't. They shouldn't be driving down to Barcelona and turning around to answer your
So
question.
that's so the thing I actually wanted to ask you was, and this is more, it's not just about Valtteri, but it's about you as well, mindset wise. Last year must have been weird, difficult, different, whatever you want to call it, of kind of turning up, not knowing if you're going to race, probably not racing. The fact that you did most of your race reviews because you'd already got the hell out of there on the Saturday because you didn't need to be around for the Sunday. Um, Valtteri on the outside seemed to keep his spirits up because he just threw himself into social media and we had Valtteri explains and all the other kind of stuff. Is there a difference between the two of you right now? It's January, whatever it is, the second today. Is there a difference just in the way that you get up to go to work now? Because now you're to being part of a race team, drivers. Well, not you, obviously, that would be dangerous. But Is it palpable? Is there something different there?
It's a lot more exciting. So needless to say, a lot more stressful. So if you, I was in Australia with him up until Christmas, in which he threw me out of a plane, which I don't want to go too much on. But
He
I
gave you a
had to go.
parachute.
Jeez, I don't want to go there. I literally had to come home early just basically it's going to be so busy. I mean, even when we've been sat here, I'm having like three or four messages coming through from different people. So it's starting to get really exciting now. In terms of our mindsets, for me, it's really hard. I mean, my job as such didn't overly change because I was still doing the same sort of thing with Valtteri. I did enjoy Bahrain testing, and Valtteri said to me that he actually misses it now, which was really nice for him to hear. And actually, you see the fire in him. He's got this spark and this fire in him, which I haven't seen for a couple of years. Again, with car performance with Sauber, it's probably going to knock the hell out of him. So. Yeah, I see a big change in him, a big step up. He kept himself busy, and Mercedes were world class for that, by the way. For a team who get a little bit abused by not having the most exciting of social media, they really stepped it up with Valtteri, and it was really really good. Um, but we are super pumped to get into it this year. He's massively champing the bit. We sort of start next week. We got events in Europe, so he's going to fly home for a week or so, then go back out to Australia for a week, and then come home. She's got an event over there, so it's starting to get really, really, really busy now. And I just can't wait to get into it. I just want to, you know, we did a seat fit a few weeks ago with him, and because it was being filmed, we were all given like just some basic Cadillac gear, and it was like it's like that first day of school feeling when you put your new school uniform on. It was so so good. So, yeah, I mean, we're so excited. And yeah, of course, naturally for him, a year off, knowing I think it reset for him was how much he missed it. You know, I loved going home on a Sunday. That is gonna suck having to stay to the end of the race. Like, being able to sit at home while eating a roast beef Sunday dinner, watching it on TV was fantastic. But nah, nothing beats being there. It's so exciting, and now you got a driver involved in it again. For me, it was hard because I wanted Mercedes to do well in my team. I wanted George and Kimmy to go well, but because you're not personally invested in it because you're working with him. With Valtteri, it's yeah, I'm pumped. I'm so excited. The reviews are going to be a lot better next year. I'm going to be a little bit more on it and focused. So me, obviously rambling similar to what I am now, will go away and we'll go back to clean, concise reports detailing every aspect of Arabian wildlife.
I would like to say this now that we saw you this last year in Canada. I look forward to an opportunity to redeem my reputation in Canada of this year. That's what I'm looking forward to. I really couldn't care less about the racing. I just look forward to Friday night at the bar and a
Do you know the
chance,
problem?
a chance
I've
to fix
actually,
it. Don't say you're not going to
yeah.
be there because then,
No, 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 no. I'm going to be there, but I've genuinely got a problem with this. And the reason is the first year, Rob let the team down.
right.
And
It's
then
your turn.
last year, you let the team down. So this year, I'm going to be like, I might just go and drink tea. I might be like, a little sauce. No, it could be my year to get it wrong. So yeah, it could be exciting.
That would be the biggest highlight. Will be to see whether or not Brian can keep pace
Are you
and not
kidding
have to
me?
skip a
I've been
beer.
preparing nonstop.
As you see from the cabinet behind, I'm also doing an element of preparation as it's been Christmas.
Oh, yeah, my liver knows it's been Christmas. Oh dear. Anyway,
Yes.
um, what else we got, Brian? I think going out on a pump for the season, pumped for drinking beers in Canada feels like a pretty good way to kind of wrap this up, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. Paul, as you look forward to 26, just anything that we didn't ask that you want to highlight that's on your mind.
No, I mean the fact I don't know any of the regulations probably means I'm sort of like relying on you guys to. No, no,
Oh dear.
honestly, I can't. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I will. I can loop back in. in and around Bahrain testing in, maybe we can have a chat from there. And I think there we're going to figure out exactly what's going on. I know um, car launches were all really exciting. I'm buzzing to see how the cars look. I know F1 keep putting their teaser car out. It's something more special when teams start dropping the liveries, isn't it? And it's sort of like, yeah,
We've got ours ready to go as well.
yeah. Well, I mean,
It's the
we
biggest
we
one.
had we had a pretty good team. Our race team lineup was pretty good, and we made some drivers pretty angry, I think, towards the end of the year for that. So yeah, we got a good lineup, that's for sure.
Well, thank you for that, Rob. Anything else you want to highlight before we close it out?
No, it's just good to be back. We will try to work out. Maybe we'll ask our friend Andy to come up with a little jingle for Cadillac Corner because we're gonna try and do a regular little segment, Paul, just to kind of track almost the diary of Cadillac over the course of this season. So any little tidbits you can throw over the fence would be cool. Obviously, we once we get to the season, we'll be able to sort of keep an eye on how both the drivers do. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm good. Can't wait to get going.
Same. So excited it's 2026. Paul, thank you. Rob, thank you. This is going to be a great season for the dirty side. If you're not subscribed, change that, fix that, and tell a friend. Everybody, be well, be safe. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.